Pranam. Welcome to the world of Jainism. This is the second episode of Jain Itihaas. In the previous video, we learnt about Prabhu's Diksha, and today we will continue with the Upsarg that Prabhu had to face after his Diksha. The first Upsarg is of the cow herd, which is known as Gwala. So Prabhu was one day meditating outside the village of Kumar, where a cowherd came with his bulls and handed them over to Prabhu. Prabhu was meditating, so he didn't know what's happening, and the cowherd started moving towards the village. When he came back, there was no bull in sight. He asked Bhagwan, "Baba, my bulls were grazing here. I handed them to you. Where are they?" Prabhu was mute in meditation. He didn't answer at all. The cowherd searched for his bulls, but he couldn't find any of them. Later, he went empty-handed. At night, coincidentally, those bulls came and sat around Prabhu. In the morning, when the cowherd saw those bulls, he got angry and furiously started whipping Prabhu. And Indra saw this instance due to his Avdigyan, and he came and explained that cowherd, "The person whom you are beating is our Tirthankar." The cowherd stopped. The Indra then went to Prabhu and said, "When you will be in this Chadmasta state, you will be meditating and you won't speak. Then many such instances would be happening. Please allow us to serve you." To this, Prabhu replied, "Na bhuto, na bhavishyati." This has never happened and this will never happen. We Tirthankars have to end our karmas on our own. We cannot do it by the strength of others. So, Indra left by appointing a Dev named Siddharth in Prabhu's service. So, this was the first Upsarg. Moving forward to the second Upsarg. The second Upsarg is about Prabhu's Shamta. On the occasion of Prabhu's Diksha, his family had done an Abhishek of Kaushir's Chandan, which is sandalwood, and a fragrant powder. Due to that fragrance, the bees left the nectar of the flower and they started fluttering around Prabhu's body. In search of nectar on that body, they were biting that continuously, but they could not find the nectar. That pain, Prabhu endured it without a sound. Secondly, a few boys were wandering in Kumar village when Prabhu was passing through. They asked Prabhu, "Could you give us the formula of that fragrantic powder you are using?" Prabhu did not answer. This angered those boys and they uttered a few bad words before leaving. At night, 3 women came to Prabhu attracted by that fragrance and by his good looks. They tried to make romantic advances towards him. They were ready to give up everything for him. Still, there was no impact on Prabhu. This is Prabhu's Shamta and his self-control, and he was deep engrossed in meditation. This was the second Upsarg about Prabhu's Shamta. The third Upsarg is when kheer was cooked on Prabhu's legs. One day, Prabhu was meditating in a forest when a wanderer arrived in search of a stuff or something he could cook his food on. The gap between Prabhu's legs seemed like a stuff to him. He went, lit fire between them and cooked his kheer. Entire legs of Prabhu were burnt. Still, he did not say anything, even if the person had cooked kheer on his legs. This was the third Upsarg Prabhu had endured. The fourth Upsarg is of the Chandakaushik Sarp. To move forward, there existed 2 paths. One was a difficult one and the easier one, but it was known for the fear of Chandakaushik Sarp, who would not let anyone stay and burn them just by looking at them using his special powers. Still, Prabhu chose that path and he went and started meditating near his burrow. Looking at this, Chandakaushik angrily bit him. He saw that instead of poison coming out of his legs, there was milk-like white blood coming out. He looked at Prabhu's face and Prabhu told him, "Bujja Bujja Chandakaushik." Hearing these words, he remembered his previous birth and he got to know that due to his anger, he had turned into a snake. Next, he told Prabhu, "Please remove me from this Durgati." He did Anchan for 15 days and he also endured the torture of the ants. Prabhu stayed there for 15 days to ensure his Samadhi. After Chandakaushik died, he was reborn in the 8th Devlok. This was the Upsarg of Chandakaushik Dev. The next Upsarg is of Katputana Devi. In Prabhu's birth as Sri Prushta Vasudev, there was this unloved, humiliated queen. After roaming for various bhavs and births, She was reborn as a Vyantari Devi known as Katputna Devi. One day, looking at Prabhu, she remembered all her previous grudges. She took the form of a tapasi and filled her jatta, which is the ponytail, with cold water and sprinkled it upon Prabhu. It was the winter season and she had summoned cold winds to scare Prabhu. Looking at Prabhu's tolerance and patience, she stopped. She surrendered and apologized Prabhu, and then she left. The next upsarg is about the upsarg of Sangam Dev. One day in the council, an Indra Dev was praising Lord Mahavir that no heavenly power in the three loks can distract Prabhu Mahavir. Everyone agreed to this except Sangam Dev. He wanted to test Prabhu Mahavir. He took the form of disastrous dust storms and bullet ants to sting Prabhu. He also became a scorpion and a poisonous snake so that he could sting Prabhu. He tried to crush Prabhu under his feet and teeth and also became Mother Trishla and King Siddharth so that he could emotionally attack Prabhu. Still, there was no impact on Prabhu. Sangam Dev had given up testing and he was about to leave. But then Prabhu Mahavir thought that in this world, on one hand, everyone is trying to get rid of their karmas, and this one is binding more terrible karmas, and I am the medium. Tears fell from his eyes in the form of compassion. This was Prabhu's compassion. He would think good even of those who wanted to harm him. The next upsarg is about Prabhu's vihar in Anarya Desh. Prabhu's 9th Chaturmas happened in an Anarya Desh. People had warned him not to go there as the people from Anarya Desh were violent, cruel, meat eaters. They would beat unknown people and chase them with predator dogs. Still, Prabhu did not hear them and he went there. He entered a tribal village, but those people told him, "You naked man, you cannot stay here." Prabhu was internally so happy that those words did not affect him. He went behind at the feet of sagan trees and laid down over there. Once he was looking at the sunlight towards the east. That's when people came towards him. He did not look at them. People got angry and spat at him. There were a few boys who threw dust in his eyes, stones at him, and they also tried to trouble him to no extent. Still, Prabhu did not move from his peace even a bit. This was Prabhu's upsarg about his vihar in Anarya Desh. The next upsarg is about Prabhu's parna at the hands of Chandan Bala. Vasumati was the daughter of King Dadivahan and Queen Dharini of Champanagri, which was once attacked by the ruler of Kaushambi, King Shatanik. When Kaushambi's ruler attacked Champanagri, the King Dadivahan fled away, and to be loyal to the king, Queen Dharini sacrificed her life by pulling off her tongue. One soldier took Vasumati home when his wife told Vasumati to be sold off in the market. One prostitute came to buy her, but Vasumati was constantly chanting Navkar mantra. So a few monkeys came and scared the prostitute, and this way Vasumati was saved. Next, a rich merchant named Dhanavaha Seth took Vasumati to her house and named her Chandan Bala due to a cool and calm composition. The merchant's wife was jealous of Chandan Bala's beauty and she thought that the merchant would marry Chandan Bala. She took the opportunity when the merchant was out of town. She shaved Chandan Bala's head. She tied her with shackles and threw her in the basement, and she ran away to her mother's house. When the merchant returned home, he got to know about this from his neighbor. He immediately went to the basement and he saw that Chandan Bala had been thirsty and hungry since 3 days. He gave her a few udad bakule in a supda and he ran outside to get a blacksmith. Chandan Bala thought that if a guest arrives, she will first serve the bakula to the guest and then later eat it by herself. On one hand, this was happening, and at the other hand, Prabhu Mahavir knew that only some of his karmas were left. So he took the abhigrah that someone who was a queen and had become a slave and was sold off in the market, someone who had her head shaved, someone whose one leg was outside the door and the other leg was inside the door, someone who was locked in shackles, who was crying, hadn't eaten since 3 days and would serve udad bakul in the corner of a supda, someone who would be crying. Prabhu would do parna only from such a person. He arrived at the courtyard where Chandan Bala was sitting. Chandan Bala was exactly as Prabhu's Abhigraha was. Only those tears were missing. Prabhu didn't see the tears, so he turned back. As soon as Prabhu turned back, Chandan Bala was extremely sad and she started crying. At this time, Prabhu's Abhigraha was complete. Dev Dundubi sounded and Panch Dravya appeared. The shackles of Chandan Bala turned into heavenly ornaments and hair of Chandan Bala grew back again. Prabhu did Parna at the hands of Chandan Bala, and after Prabhu attained Keval Gyan, Chandan Bala was the first Sadhvi. So this was the Upsarg of Chandan Bala. The last one is the Karna Kilo Upsarg done by the cowherd. In Prabhu's birth at Triprushta Vasudev, he had gotten molten lead poured into the ears of the Shayya Palak. These bad karmas of Prabhu had come back to him. That Shayya Palak was reborn as a cowherd who had left his bulls near Prabhu. When he came back, he did not find them, and the next morning they were over there. Due to his previous births and karmas, he had grudges towards Prabhu. He had hammered nails in the ears of Prabhu. Prabhu was in intense pain. When he went for Gochri at the house of Siddharth Vanik, there was a Kharak Vidhya who could see the pain on Prabhu's face. They both followed him and tried to remove the nails by tying them to silk threads which were then attached to bent branches. Both the branches were pulled and released simultaneously. This is when the nails came out of Prabhu's ears. The pain was so intense that a scream came out from Prabhu's mouth. That scream tore a mountain off, and that is now known as Bamanwada Tirth. Prabhu always used to sit in Goduhasan Mudra, never flat on the ground. In 12.5 years, he only slept for 2 ghadis. 1 ghadi means 24 minutes. That also in the temple of Shulpani Yaksh. Rest of the time, he did not sleep. In this video, we've learned about the Upsargs of Prabhu. In the next video, we will learn about Prabhu's Keval Gyan. Pranam.